Dad, I learned a lot from you. We all did. A few lessons on creating wealth: be novel, be aggressive, break new ground, say yes to the impossible, as there are no limits. No is never really no. Maintaining wealth: say no a lot. Be conservative. Then reminds me, Al said no a lot. He knew how to say no, and he used it. As you heard earlier, family first. I remember, as the businessman that he was, the success he achieved, he was home for dinner every night. I can't remember any ball game or performance of mine that he missed. He took us on a one-on-one trip, which is a tradition now that I do with my kids. He and Judy both had an amazing parenting partnership. A story I had learned about years later. When I had bought a car, my first car, he said, you go work, your part-time job, take your bar mitzvah savings, everything, and I'll match you dollar for dollar and get whatever car you can afford. I think I had about $7,000 by the time I was 16, and I could afford, by that math, a $14,000 car. And we got to the dealer, and the car I could afford was a good economy car, but I really wanted the 200 SX, which was $15,500. I was $1,500 away, a mere $750 of my own doing. And there was no question he knew that that's the car I wanted. And he quietly went into the salesman's office, called Judy, told her of his son and how close he came and how hard he worked and everything else. And they had made an agreement. He can get whatever car he could afford. If that's the car he can afford, that's the car he's getting. My dad told me that he was in tears. In tears because he couldn't give his son what he wanted. And years later, I have to tell you, I can't appreciate that decision more. I learned gratitude, finding the joy in everything, and to always share the wonder. Learned that one at an early age, too. On those one-on-one trips, Dad took me to New York City. We went out, did everything. Got back to this wonderful suite in the Waldorf Astoria. He was so proud of. He gets on the phone, calls Mom. He says, okay, tell Mom about your day. And I think the part of the conversation he heard was me saying, yeah. Well, we were supposed to get Italian ice today, but we didn't. He grabbed the phone, hung up, and he said to me, we went on the Circle Line, we went on a Broadway tour, we took cabs everywhere, we went to the Empire State Building. He says, you need to learn how to express the wonder in life, how to talk about, how to enjoy every single moment. Don't focus on the one little thing that didn't happen. Got back on the phone, called the long-distance operator, called Judy, and I was there. It was the best day of my life. We went to the Broadway show, we went to the Empire State Building, and it really was. We heard so many times today, what I wrote last night was to be the best friend to everyone. Do anything for them and don't ask for anything in return. I think there's no question that everyone who knows him knows that. And dream really big, because you will realize your dreams. And with enough determination, energy, innovation, creativity, you can solve any problem. I think people that know me know that I got from you, Dad, and that is a theme that runs really strong. We talked about how Al Glickman convinced the Aspen Mountain Corporation to let him on the lift a few minutes early. It was through a lot of persuasive persistence. I mean, he got no so many times to the point where he finally used the conditional yes. Well, what if? Hypothetically. Finally, they answered. And guess what? He delivered. And Al and 4 friends got to go up 20 minutes early. 20 minutes is a very interesting, think about it. It takes 15 minutes to get to the top. This is the math of Al Glickman. This is a lot about his personality. It takes a minute to put your skis on and get the group ready to go. That leaves 4 minutes to get from the top to the bottom, to get right into the front of the line to go up again. There's a few of you nodding like, yeah, I remember those 4 minutes, those harrowing 4 minutes, because you were not going to get to the bottom at 9:01, I guarantee it. So Al Glickman, you defined something. You didn't define first tracks alone. You defined something else. You defined first tracks twice, every day. How do you define first tracks twice? It's not first tracks and second tracks. It's first tracks twice. And that is Al. It's not oxymoronic. It's not ironic. It's simply who he was, how he lived. He was indefinable. In real estate, negative basis. What does that mean? In refining he refined developing a shopping center into an art form. He had negative basis in many of them. What that means is somehow he managed to buy the land, build a shopping center, and his cost was less than zero. When he sold one, his gain was more than what he sold it for. Indefinable or quintessentially Al Glickman? Indefinable politics. President Clinton came to a dinner here in Portland, Maine, to support fellow Democrat Senator George Mitchell. Mitchell had paraded Clinton through a lot of his supporters, and there was Al Glickman. And he introduced Clinton to Al Glickman, the then Republican finance chairman for the state of Maine. Clinton immediately turned to Mitchell and said, "So George, what you're saying is, Al's voting for you, but he's not voting for me." Senator Frank Lautenberg couldn't be here this morning, but Bonnie brought a note to the House last night, and I just want to share. Senator wrote, I never met anybody whose political views I disagreed with more, yet loved as much as I did Al Glickman. How do you define this man? I think the only way at this point is to talk about his legacy. Al's legacy is not real estate, although that library with his name on it is pretty impressive. His legacy is everyone here. You are his legacy. I am his legacy. His vocation was improving land, enriching it for a better purpose. His philanthropy was enriching his many communities. His legacy, enriching all of us. Anyone he touched, he enriched. Literally enriching his business partners, while spiritually enriching all of us who are blessed enough to have Al Glickman in our lives. Dad, words cannot express the respect I have for you, nor the inspiration I derive from you. I will miss you. You are bigger than life in so many ways. Much of who I am is a result of what you modeled and embodied. I find myself emulating you daily, and when I do, I'm so proud. Your legacy lives on through me, our family, and all of us here. Everyone you touched. Please, spread Al's generosity. Whatever he did that touched you in that special way, please pass that inspiration along to the people you love and cherish. Within all of us, Dad, your spirit will thrive. Thank you, Dad, for life. A life indefinable, a life inspired. I love you. I miss you. Goodbye.